Okay, so Aaron Rodgers has signed with the Steelers. They announced that last night. He's agreed to terms pending a physical. We'll find out eventually what the terms are. I think it'll be closer to $20 million than $10 million, and $10 million is the magic number because when he went on Pat McAfee's show in April and aired grievances and complained about all this, as he said, bullshit people are talking about him, about wanting so much money and this, that, I'll play for $10 million. I have a feeling he's not playing for $10 million. I have a feeling that when the Steelers tried to say, hey, Aaron, we want to have a good relationship here, but we just want to make sure we clarify and understand what you said. We're just asking a question here. We're not taking a bargaining position. We're just asking a question. Did you say $10 million? Did you say you play for $10 million? 10? Was it 10?
But I'll bet you.
Sure, you said 10
I'll
million?
bet you it's something like that, though.
Yeah.
I'll bet you it's something like $10 million with some caveats. Contracts better than most. Hey, $10 million, and then we have, if you hit this likely incentive, likely to be earned incentive, you can get another 4, and then if you put it all together, you're right, it's probably 20, but it might on the surface look like a $10 million contract just because he wants to be able to say, see, I told you, $10 million. And I was willing to play for $10 million, but they threw in an extra 10 just because they really wanted me to be here.
Well, it's the spell your name correctly bonus. It's the knows how to put on a helmet bonus. It's the found his way to the facility bonus. Right. You got all these very easily earned bonuses. But at the end of the day, and this will drive him crazy because he wants, like his thing is, I want to be this mysterious figure that nobody knows anything about and therefore wants to talk about all the time. There's a genius, delicate or otherwise, to his approach because it's not, hey, everybody pay attention to me. It's, I know they're paying attention to me, and I'm going to say absolutely nothing, and I'm going to try to keep everything quiet because that's just going to make them want to know even more what's going on. And that was part of the game, I believe, that he was playing the entire offseason. So we'll know exactly what the contract is. I've already got the infrastructure in place. Someone will send me the full contract, and I'll pick it apart, and we'll know exactly what he's going to get. So this was the window. And I guess we said on the show yesterday, because I've talked about the guy so much lately, I can't remember what I've said when. But I think we said on the show yesterday, if he's going to show up for next week's mandatory minicamp, he needs to sign in the next day or two. And he did. And on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, he'll be part of their 3-day mandatory minicamp, which I guess is better than nothing. But I still think it would have been better for him to be there for the full OTA slate, which was 6 practices. Because I don't know how much you really pick up in that short, compressed mandatory minicamp. But again, it's better than nothing.
Look, we've heard so much about Aaron Rodgers that if you needed to write a book about Rodgers, even without his cooperation, you would be able to come up with a pretty accurate portrait because he's put so much information out there that you have a hint of how he thinks and how he sees particular issues. So I'm not as interested in how he thinks about the Steelers as I am why the Steelers are so intrigued by him. It's not just the Steelers intrigued by Aaron Rodgers, Mike. It's the Steelers and their approach to the quarterback position since Ben Roethlisberger retired. And I was thinking about this the other day. Roethlisberger is only 2 years older than Aaron Rodgers. Roethlisberger's 43. And I'm not saying bring back Roethlisberger. He looked like he was it looked like he was calcifying his last couple of years when he played in Pittsburgh. So I know he doesn't have it anymore. But the point is that in the post-Ben Roethlisberger era, the best thing, the most exciting thing they've been able to come up with since then is signing 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who made them wait 70 or 80 days between visits to Pittsburgh to sign on the bottom line. What are you thinking? That's what I just want to keep asking the Steelers. Why are you acting like this? And my only guess, and you tell me what you think, my only guess is desperation. And what I mean by that is, I think this is the first time maybe Mike Tomlin, was there some conversation between Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin where it was, okay, I know you get a lot of love from the national media for your streak of non-losing seasons, but it's almost a decade since we won a playoff game. Give me a quarterback. Find me a quarterback who can win us a playoff game. That's the directive. And the best they could come up with out of all available options was Aaron Rodgers.
The day I discovered the National Football League, December 23, 1972, was the day the Steelers won their first ever postseason game in their entire existence. They had been hapless. They had been pathetic. They had been to the postseason one prior time and had lost. Since December 23, 1972, they are currently in the longest streak they've ever had between postseason runs. Ever. I went back last night and checked.
That's amazing.
They've never gone this long between playoff wins. And that gets obscured because they're in the playoffs. And, you know, that's the pass-fail. I remember when they expanded the playoffs from 12 to 14 teams, every coach I talked to about it was like, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, because that's the litmus test for most guys. It's getting to the playoffs. How do you save your job? You get to the playoffs. Let's have more playoff teams. More guys save their jobs. But, and we did a draft earlier this week of guys that need to do more than get to the playoffs. And my first pick was Mike Tomlin because it feels like that's no longer good enough. And it feels like, and desperation is the word. And it made me think maybe they should trade out Renegade, their fourth quarter hype song, for Desperado. I think Desperado, even though it's not quite as, it's not as catchy, although the guy in Seinfeld stopped everything he was doing whenever Desperado started to play, it doesn't have that moment where, the drums and the guitars really kick in, but they are more Desperado than Renegade right now. The DK Metcalf move. Look, Michael, 50 years of following the Steelers, and I've never been a Steeler fan, even though Chris Sims accuses me otherwise, and we went through
all
this
the
other
time.
day that once I discovered the NFL, and everybody in my hometown, J.J. Jenkins' hometown as well, of Wheeling, West Virginia, was like, you've got to be a Steelers fan. We're Steelers fans. They're just 60 miles away. My attitude was, well, why? There's other teams. I'll pick whatever team I want. Thank you very much. But I've followed them. How can you not? They're everywhere. They're every time. The only team that was covered in the newspaper, the only team that was covered on the local TV stations. I understand how they operate. They've never done the things they're doing this offseason. Trading for a guy and paying him market value. A guy that's never played for the team before has a market value contract. They have no idea what DK Metcalf is going to do in Pittsburgh. And if anything, they had a receiver that they didn't use properly, so let's go pay market value to a receiver that his prior team didn't use properly, and maybe we won't use properly. That made no sense. And then the protracted, here we go. Oh, Aaron, hey, come on. We want you. We'll wait. We'll wait as long as we need to wait. We'll sit here until hell freezes over for you to come play anything you want. And I wonder what else he's going to get. I wonder how hard he pushed this. And maybe they told him from the get-go, we're willing to wait as long as it takes, but you're not going to come in and be the de facto GM. We're not going to get your old friends and former teammates together. You've got no say in the offense. If you come here, you have to fully submit. You come here. Once you come here, you're ours. You decide what you're going to do, but once you come here, it's going to be like it was in Green Bay when you didn't like it, where you just work here. Because when you come here, you're just going to work here. I don't know anything about that, but I think that Steelers fans would prefer that those were the terms, because they'd like to think that the organization that has been one of the most proud in all of sports for the last 50 years has at least maintained some shred of its dignity.
Well, I know Steelers fans would like to think that. My guess is that the truth is somewhere in the middle, because the Jets went too far. We know the Jets allowed him to pretty much run the organization until they got tired of it. And then they shut him out and said, hey, concluding with Aaron Glenn saying, you sure you want to play football? Okay, well, if you do want to play football, you can't play football here anymore. See you later. So he had the run of the place for a little bit with the Jets. But the Steelers didn't have the leverage to talk to him that way. They didn't have the leverage to say, hey, this is how it's going to be here. Why? They exhausted all of their options, and they were really stuck with, let's say Aaron Rodgers said, you know what, I think I'm going to retire. Oh, damn. What does Pittsburgh do then? Yeah, you don't draft a quarterback into the 6th round. You let Justin Fields go to the Jets. You let Russell Wilson go. And if Aaron Rodgers is not there for you, what are you going to do? Kirk Cousins? You're going to beg the Falcons to give you Kirk Cousins? They didn't have a lot of options. And so maybe because they're not the Jets historically, they don't do Jet things, but they were kind of in a Jets position of just waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come to them. Because if he didn't, I shudder to think what the options would be for the Steelers today.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.